Hey guys, welcome to another Donoran Monologue podcast. I am your host, Beau. We want to again mention our sponsor, Ashley Luann K, on Instagram. Again, Instagram is just a wonderful resource for information, and this is a subject that has a lot of information to go through. Nursing. She covers everything, cradle to grave, on nursing. Wonderful resource. Check her out, Ashley Luann K, on Instagram. We will have links again provided in the comments and descriptions. Guys, today, we're going to talk about something that, as years go on, becomes more and more of a thing, and that is maintaining the hobby of video games when you become a parent. And I hear, and this isn't going to be one of those cheesy things like those t-shirts where it's like, I'm a gamer dad or something stupid like that. But I hear a lot of people that are like, man, I had to give up video games when I became a dad. They're like, oh man, so you don't have time for anything that's fun? And they're like, oh no, I go golfing and hunting and stuff like that. And all these things that consume exponentially more time than playing a video game. Because I don't know if you, as one of our listeners, I know we have a lot of listeners in the Midwest, but maybe you live in an area where hunting isn't that common. That's your whole day. Like if you go hunting, I don't care that it only happens like 5 hours in the morning. Like that's your whole day, especially if you get something. So I don't understand how you have like an entire day out of the week to hunt, but you don't have 2 hours to sit and play a video game. That doesn't make any sense. So growing up, my parents were boomers, of course, and they didn't play video games at all. Mom would watch sometimes. I mean, she was a housewife. Sometimes she had nothing better to do. And Dad would really strongly attempt to be interested, but when Nintendo 64 came in, the 3D rendering made him, it gave him motion sickness, so he couldn't watch, but he would try. But mostly it was just me and my brother playing video games alone because our parents really didn't get it, especially when narratives got more intense in video games. They were really like, they didn't know what was going on. But I kind of have a cool rapport with my own children. My daughter's 3. She's not really playing video games yet, but my son is 10, so he is super versed in video games. And so the first way I deal with playing video games as a parent is I mostly play with my kids. Me and my son Braxton will sit and play a video game together. He loves Smash Brothers. He isn't really into narratives in video games yet. He much prefers games where he can make things. Even in Smash Brothers, he makes our own stages before we play. But people say it's difficult. I don't really think it's difficult. I mean, I certainly hope your children have a bedtime. And unless your job's like super hard, man, just don't go to bed at the same time your kids do. I'm usually up probably 3 hours after my kids go to bed. I mean, it's just like anything else. You know, you've got like, it's just a matter of what you wanted to do more. So when you say you had to give up video game because you became a parent, you just like fishing, hunting, golfing, watching sports more is what it was, because you got to choose. You do have to choose your time more carefully because you don't want anything to interfere with your time with your kids. You only get that once. And it's totally cool that you value something else more than video games. That's fine. I'm just saying that don't blame your kids for having to give something up. You just made the sacrifice where you made it and did something else. But so now that we're away with how you maintain it, playing video games as a parent is cool because it's something else you get to show your children. I remember when I was a kid, and I think a large reason of how I wound up the way I am is, I think I've talked about this on the show before. I can't remember how old I was, but USA had a Star Wars marathon, and at this point in my life, there was only just the original trilogy, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. And there was the Christmas special, which I'm still waiting for on Disney+. I'm still waiting for the holiday special to make its way there. The first appearance of Boba Fett, baby. But there was the trilogy was shown on a USA marathon, and my dad just ran into my room. I think I was playing Mortal Kombat or something, and he's like, "Beau, you got to come out and check out this movie. You're gonna love this movie." He caught me right as it was starting, and I'm like, "Okay." Turn off my game. I go up front. I really wasn't. I didn't really have the attention span for movies back then, so I sat down, and I came in the middle of the text scroll. I didn't read that. It was probably 5 years into being a Star Wars fan before I ever read a text scroll at the beginning of the movies. I would usually be arranging my snacks or doing something else while that was happening. But the opening of Star Wars, of course, the blockade runner getting shot at by the Star Destroyer behind it, That's incredible, man. Like, I can only imagine what that was like seeing it in the theaters in 1977. But even on an old CRT television in 1990, whatever, I can't remember the exact year, but I was really young. I was probably 6. So if I was 6, that would be like 92, 93. It's one of my earliest memories of falling in love with a movie. Of course, I had Aladdin and stuff like that, but this movie was different, man. This movie really hit me. And so I watched all 3 movies. I sat and watched the whole marathon with my dad. And so in the way that he was able to share Star Wars with me, and later Star Trek, and all these great books and everything, because my dad's pretty redneck, but he was into all that stuff. He really enjoyed it, and I got that from him. And I was able, and if you've read our book, another thing that my dad he probably didn't mean to influence me to where I wound up where I was with video games, but he did. If you read our book, which is still on sale, guys, like, if you like listening to us talk about video games, surely you'll like reading about it, listening to us read about it. We should do an audiobook. That's not a bad idea, actually. Oh my gosh, a Patreon thing. You can download the audiobook on Patreon. When he gets back in here, I'm going to mention that. I know I talk to the guys off the camera a lot, but that's why you come to Donoram, for this shooting from the hip, just a bunch of boys hanging out thing. Yes, actually, already as a Patreon subscriber, if you pledge $10, you get a signed copy of our book. Adam, I just mentioned while you're out of the room, we should do an audiobook for Patreon subscribers. Is that not cool?
All right, we'll do it with you reading it.
He likes it, and he doesn't like any of my ideas at all, so that's pretty cool. He literally takes ideas off his girlfriend before he does me. He takes ideas off Yoko before he takes them off McCartney, and I am the McCartney. But I am so sorry, Stephanie. You are not Yoko. You're actually really cool. But I was going somewhere with all this. Anyway, sorry, when ideas happen, you just got to roll with them, people. But in this book, I describe my dad buying Warcraft 2 for me. And when he gave it to me, he's like, because I hear smart kids like this game. That's a really cool, like, underhanded compliment from your dad. Because, like, my dad is one of the old school pops. Like, I did not get a whole lot of, like, hey, son, I appreciate that you're here. I got a whole lot of him telling me what I did was super cool and strongly implying that meant I was super cool. I mean, he doesn't know how to express himself very well. Great dad. He's just not a super expressive guy. He's not the kind of guy that blubbers during a Julia Roberts movie. I am the kind of dad that blubbers during a Julia Roberts movie. So he gave me Warcraft 2, and so I do have video game memories, like, quote-unquote nerd memories with my dad, but not many. My son, that's like the basis of our relationship. I've said a lot of times we love building gunplay together, we watch anime together, we play video games, and I fully intend to get my daughter into all those things too. And I think there people who say that, like, video games is something that's separate from parenting, I think you're missing out on a great opportunity to bond with your kids, because I think you could have just the same amount of bonding opportunities with your son, teaching him about hit stun and chain blocking and combos in a fighting game, as you can teaching him how to hit a baseball. I actually do believe that. Like, I know I have had great moments, and I've taught my son how to. Well, my wife is far the better athlete. She taught my son how to hit a baseball, but I was there. I threw it a couple times. But video games is something I get a part on him a lot better. He plays WoW every once in a while. He loves the Horde because he loves trolls. And it's just I think it's a great thing to do with your kids and spend time with them. So, guys, I'm sorry. I know I chased a lot of rabbits on this one, but that's kind of the theme of Donoram, isn't it? We're all just hanging out. And speaking of hanging out, I want you guys to consider hanging out with my buddy Mike over at BRCM. If I hesitate for a moment, Adam chimes in with what I'm saying, and it sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. Trust me. It happened a lot on a couple of videos earlier. I know what I'm about to say. I just do dramatic Captain Kirk pauses before a couple of things. It happened on another video, but yeah. Anyway, please check out our buddy Mike over there. Links again will be he's one of our partners in the Rally Network. It's a great guy. If you really are longing for that old morning drive time radio show feel, he nails it. So please go give Mike a listen at BRCM. Our links to our Patreon, again, are in the comments. We're coming up with all sorts of cool content for our Patreon subscribers. Again, that is not denying our normal listeners something. It's just making the Patreon subscription more worthwhile for the people that are wanting to do that. It's our way of saying thank you. But if you support us in any way, even if it's just a like, even if it's just a share, I want you guys to know we appreciate you guys so much. You're making this become something really great. Almost more so than we are even. So thank you very much, guys, and as always, stay safe.